The first deal that we made in the Reagan administration with the Soviets was a human rights deal. And it involved the Pentecostals. Remember, this is a group that rushed into our embassy in the Carter administration. They were still there when the Reagan administration came in. And for fortuitous reasons, I had a dinner with the President and Nancy. I'd been in China, and it was a trip with lots of publicity. It turned out to be very constructive. Things happened, and they watched it. And on the Friday that we came back, it snowed in Washington, and it snowed Saturday. And the President couldn't get to Camp David. He couldn't, helicopter couldn't go, cars couldn't go. So our phone rings Saturday morning, and he invites my wife and I to come over and have supper with him. So the four of us sat down, and he asked about the China trip. And then I'd had experience with Soviet leaders during the Nixon administration, so he was talking about that. And I could see that he was dying to meet with these people. And then it dawned on me that he had never met with any big-time communist leader. So by that time, I had established weekly meetings with Ambassador Dobrynin, and our idea was, let's find little irritants and deal with them. And in the process, we can walk before we try to run. Anyway, I said to him, next Tuesday, Dobrynin's coming over for one of those meetings. If you'd like, I'll just put him in a car and bring him over here, and you can talk to him yourself. So he liked that idea. His White House staff didn't like it. They didn't trust him. But over Dobrynin came, and President Reagan said, he'll only be here about 10 minutes, because I just want to tell him that if his new boss, was then Andropov, wants to have a constructive discussion, I'm ready for it. Won't take me any time. Well, we must have been there an hour and a half. We went through everything under the sun. And President Reagan came down very hard on the human rights side of things. And he pointed to these Pentecostals in our embassy. He said, look at that, it's an eyesore. Everybody can see that, it's ridiculous. And all it means is that you don't let people worship as they choose, and you don't let them immigrate if they want to. And it's terrible. So writing back, Dobrynin says, and President Reagan kept adding, all I want is to get him out. You get him out, I won't say a word. So Dobrynin says to me, let's make that our project. And so a couple of weeks later, over comes a memorandum from the Soviets that I had to take to the President and say, Mr. President, this is obviously a response, but any lawyer could drive a truck through this thing. There's nothing. So we improved it a little bit, but finally got the Pentecostals, decided to try to get them out of the embassy, which they did.
Meaning getting them out of the country, or?
They had to, first they had to get out of the embassy, so you had to trust that they wouldn't be killed. And then they let them out about 3 months later, with their families, about 60 people. And Reagan never said anything. The deal was, you let them out and I won't crow.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, can you imagine a president strong enough not to crow under those circumstances?